Good afternoon. I hope you still have a lot of energy for this very exciting session that we have today. And I think for me, this is one of the most hot topics for every organization. So my name is Alexandros Papaspyridis, and I will be moderating a distinguished panel. And first, I would like to start from our guest remote. Can François, bonsoir, can you introduce yourself, please, in 1 minute? Okay, we have...
I unmute myself. It works. It works. So
okay,
my name is François Candelon. Actually, I've been at BCG for 30 years, where I lead two things. I lead our operations and AI transformations for tech and telcos on one hand, and on the other hand, I'm leading the BCG Henderson Institute, which is BCG think tank, and I focus my own research on the impact of AI on business and society.
Thank you, François, for joining us. Sandy.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sandy. I am a deployment strategist for Palantir, and I work for their private sector. We call it commercial. Great to meet you all. Yeah.
Thank you. Mario?
Hello, everyone. I'm Marios Tzitziras. I work for Piraeus Bank. I'm the head of operations, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Mario, for joining us. Thank you all. And as I said, my name is Alexandros Papaspyridis. I'm the general manager at Nefos Consulting. I've spent 15 years in Microsoft, and the last 6 years, which has been a very exciting part of my life, I've been looking at AI and education. So let's kick it off today. And I would like to first ask you, how do you identify and prioritize potential AI use cases that can deliver tangible value to commercial clients, aligned with their strategic business goals? And I think a key question on that is generative AI different than any other IT projects? And I would like to start with François, who's the author of one of the most important research studies that have been done on generative AI, along with Professor Ethan Mollick and other distinguished. Ethan is one of the voices that I like to listen to that, so it was really great to see this research. Can you start, François?
Yeah, so I don't know if you will be happy with that, because I hate the word use case. So I explain. Because I think that very often, and it is one of the key issues we see at the moment, is very often companies are asking themselves, oh, what can I do with generative AI? And I think it's the wrong mindset, because very often then it's you do proofs of concepts, but it is difficult to bring it at scale. So my inclination is more to say, okay, what is a business question that I try to leverage, and I can to solve, and how can GenAI support me in solving it? And very often what we see is that we see two main elements. The first one is more on the, I would say, efficiency, how to reduce costs. And very often this is what our clients are pushing first. It's maybe a lack of imagination, but how can GenAI support me in reducing my cost? And so here what you need to do is really to think about your good old reengineering. I'm old enough to have seen this era, but now it's really leveraging GenAI. And of course, there are plenty of functions where it will have impact: marketing, customer service, code development, some support functions. So I think that's the first thing. Let's try to see how we can re-engineer our processes, leveraging GenAI to reduce costs a lot. And it changes from time to time. It's more, some of the parts of the processes will be reduced by 80, 90%, some others won't. So it's more this type of thing than really 10% everywhere. So point one. The second thing is, of course, to think more about imagination and new ways of doing things. I'm currently working with a material company where we try to identify new materials using inverse design, where basically you ask for the functionalities, and then generative AI will imagine a few hundreds of potential candidates, and we use analytical AI then to select the ones that are the most likely to work. Or even you can think about new business models. This is, for example, what we've been doing with L'Oreal, with this new virtual beauty assistant that was, let's say, released for the CES in Las Vegas, where really you try to recreate a new way to think the touch points with your clients. So with your consumer. But really, I think that if there is something which is important in what I've said, is think about the business questions that you face that will provide you a competitive advantage, and try to see how GenAI can support you.
Thanks, François. Sandy?
Yeah, I definitely echo what François just said. I work for Palantir, as I mentioned earlier. Palantir is industry agnostic, so we approach every single customer problem challenge in the same way, but always have an entrepreneurship and creative spirit. Even though we partner closely with the engineers and the developers from our customer side, always the business folks are at the top line, the top priority, because those folks will be our end users. And what we're trying to do is leverage GenAI in order to help users make informed, data-driven decisions powered by AI. And this is the core thesis of what we're doing right now for them.
Maria, you're on the other side of the fence.
All right, now after BCG and François says that use cases is a bad word, I'm really scared how I'm going to use it, because usually you're right. But hopefully my answer will cover you, François, so I will pass the exams. So I'm always looking at big companies like BCG, you know, McKinsey, etc., Oliver Wyman, as if I pass the exams. So we're working for shareholders. So it means that we're working to increase the capital and make money by supporting and providing services to our clients fast. So what, for example, in our case we did is that we linked our business strategy. It's increase loans, have more deposits, increase wealth and assets under management, lower costs, for sure. So what we did, for example, is that we first started linking our business strategy with our, I would say, IT strategy that includes AI, and then it was, I would say, not just, but it was updated with generative AI aspects. So what we did is that we don't start like thinking the generative AI strategy and just creating a new strategy, but we just updated our strategy and we inserted elements that need to be there. So by focusing on the areas that I just mentioned before, updating the strategy, then we went through the areas that we're focusing and tried to figure out what are the, apologies, François, the appropriate problems that we're going to use. So we ended up with use cases, apparently. So currently we have, let's say, I would say a library, but it's not a study. So I don't want to be misunderstood by using that term. So we have like 70 use cases that we've put down the road based, as I said before, based on return on investment. Return on investment meaning what are the problems that we try to solve, what's the business need that we're trying to cover, and based on that prioritization, we are proceeding. Currently, in 2024, we are working, either completed or working in 10 out of the 17, 10 AI use cases, out of which 6 are generative AI. This is why we proceed. One aspect that I don't want to forget, sorry, what I forgot to say in the beginning is that people who work with me, they know that I'm very talkative. When you set the spotlight on me, I'm just like the rabbit. I can just freeze and forget what I want to say. Sorry for the parentheses. So I together with the use cases, because we don't want something that it's only part of the IT, AI, and data departments, you know, that they are like looking into it. We were among the first adopters of Copilot. I'm not advertising something, but out of, for example, have like 30 people that they use Copilot since this summer, and approximately 170 people. We are not IT. We're people from the business, so we can try to learn the capabilities. So it means that we're educating ourselves, and we also create a culture to use generative AI in our business strategy and included IT strategy.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
Let's get a little bit more concrete and start having some examples where AI has significantly transformed a business process for an organization. Can we talk about the challenges and the outcomes, particularly when we are moving to the deployment phase? Maria, you said these 10 use cases, of which 6 are generative AI, and I think that's a number that I would like to keep. You also bring the viewpoint from the previous fintechs that you worked. Can you elaborate a little bit on these use cases?
Yes.
Which François doesn't like as a term.
All right. So first of all, I asked Copilot to just to check myself. I sometimes do that. To ask Copilot something that it's truly transformative to impress you. So I'm not Google, sorry, I'm usually used to say Google. Now we need to find a slang word for Copilot, Google something. So I asked Copilot what is an impressive use of AI, not generative AI in total, and the answer was it's the autopilot on airplanes. I'm not sure if it's correct or if it was a victim of hallucination of an AI, but that's what it said. Unfortunately, I don't have something truly impressive yet to share with you. Our view, and my view personally, is that you need first to start small and fail on a safe environment. As I said, I work for a bank, but in fintechs we're also financial institutions that people were trusting us with their money. So we need to try small things. It's good to fail. We're lucky that so far the use cases that we are currently working, we haven't failed. So the 3 use cases that I've chosen to share with you is one is AI machine learning. We use it for the one of my areas of operation is the cash, the vaults, replenishments, ATMs, etc. So it's a very expensive business. It's quite hard to find all those bits and pieces and find the right route for the SIT companies to replenish the money. It's expensive. I don't want to mention the spending, but it's over millions. You cannot just load the ATMs with cash because it's dangerous, it increases the insurance costs, etc. But then you don't want to be left with no money. So in that case, we're using all the data that we have. So it's machine learning AI. My IT department hopes that I'm not using the term wrong. And we can predict what's the best alternative. Thus, we have decreased our costs for sure. And also, we have also decreased the cash out, as we called it on ATMs, to 0.5%, which is impressive. So one use case, this is on production, it's not generative AI. The second showcase that I want to share with you, it's currently on proof of concept, but we need approximately 2 weeks to proceed on production. We called it the lending copilot. I can see Vivian, who did it in her area. She's the head of the loan operations. We started small. And what we did is that we thought that it's a better use of generative AI to read all the Greek legalization documents. Those who are Greek understand. François, probably you don't understand. It's kind of a 4 to 10 pages document that a lot of people in various combinations can approve, let's say, a certain limit of amount and among multiple things. So it needs business knowledge to read it and decide what are the limits that each individual can approve. And then you have the outcome of the credit that says that, for example, it's approximately 40 pages, if I'm right, for multiple products. And then you need to end up with a contract. So usually you have someone in that specific area that needs to read the legalization, read the credit memo, and then create the contract. This is not an automated procedure because it's for large corporate clients. Usually it's more complex and we provide more, let's say, custom-made solution. So now that was an approximately 45-minute job, and now with generative AI, we are doing it in 8 minutes. So it means that there is, I will call it a machine, sorry if I'm not an exact IT person. So generative AI creates the contract in 8 minutes. If you ask me if it's the most impressive as a return on investment use case that you have chosen, I would say no, because what I'm hiding from you is that the pieces, let's say the contracts that we have per year, it's approximately 600, it's approximately 60 per month. So it's not that we are had reduced, let's say, the cost significantly, but we have chosen that specific contracts in order to change the culture in operation. So we had a lot of people that they were afraid of generative AI, people that they don't understand, people that they used to not understand what the prompt means. I didn't even know that. So we've put business people that are on operation with IT people to work together and create that thing. Now we wanted it small, because they want them first to trust it. And now we can see that people in operations, approximately 50 people that work on corporate loan operation, that are trusting generative AI and understood that it's there to help them on an easy task that it can do. Last, and sorry,
Maria, let me cut you here just for the purpose of time, but I would like to hold on, really this entrepreneurial approach that you are taking, which is, fail fast, start small,
yes.
Fail fast, change the culture. Sandy, what's the learnings from your side?
In terms of entrepreneur?
No, in terms of,
use cases?
How you have managed to, with Palantir's products, to change the processes of an organization and drive impact on the strategy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and you'll be surprised that most processes, internal processes, even for very successful, prominent companies, are still very manual. And this is a problem for many reasons. Let me just elaborate on something that I work very closely. That was my baby product for 9 months last year. So I work for a major U.S. airline, actually it's the biggest U.S. airline for 9 months. And we have a long-lasting partnership with them. And what happened last year is that we leveraged AI to automate their process of dynamically changing the schedule of flights. And this might sound a very easy problem. Actually, it's not. It's very, very complicated because that airline, we have to take into consideration crew scheduling, maintenance, plane's location, and then each plane has different configurations of how many customers do you fit in each plane, and then the business versus economy is different, so you name it, and then you have to take into consideration customer loyalty, so it's a very, very complex issue. And why I'm mentioning is that automating workflows and enabling AI to make informed decisions comes extremely in handy in times of crisis. So back in June 2023, there were incidents of extreme thunderstorms in the New York City area, and the FAA, which stands for Federal Airline Association, I believe, imposed a 40% reduction of arriving flights and 75% reduction of departing flights for all New York City airports for a day. Think about it. How many flights fly to or from New York City within a day? More than 1,000. So folks at the Network Operations Center had to make decisions on the fly, which flights to cancel, which flights to reroute to other airports, and why. So we help them make this a smooth process by informed decision-making, and that helped the airline, our partners, because they're we work together. We're not just building software for them. We have a partnership model. Save a lot of $1 million for just one day's incident event, and of course maximize utility and address their customers. Because have you ever had a flight canceled? That's a very unfortunate situation I have, and it's not pleasant. So addressing the customer's need and, of course, helping our customers save money was such an eye-opening experience for me, leveraging GenAI.
Thank you. François, can you like to elaborate a little bit also from your side, give us some experiences from your global exposure?
No, first of all, I would like to thank you because I was actually in New York that day. And my flight was not canceled. So thank you very much. No, I would like to come back to what you said and what was said previously. And I fully agree. The reason why I say I hate the word use cases, of course, then we have use cases, but it is that I believe you should not start through this element of use cases, but look at what will happen, because what we've seen as one of the main roadblocks is really based on culture and the ability to bring these use cases or these POCs at scale. And I think that as it was said previously, it was previously said, the culture is really critical. And this is why when you make the difference between generative AI and let's say analytical AI, even, or machine learning, even if at the end I believe there will be a convergence. These are things where explainability, trust is really at the core of it. And I give you one example, which is not on generative AI, but on analytical AI, where I've been working with, let's say, one Inspirit company with their sales force. And the idea was to develop a next best action that was enabling them to see which, let's say, stores / coffee shops or restaurant they needed to visit. And then to be able to see which type of offers they should make. And I think it was very important, because what we chose is not to have the best accuracy, but the best explainability, so that upfront the salespeople would be willing to use it, to trust it, and over time, we all know that the worst day for AI is day one. Therefore, the fact that people are using it is absolutely critical. And I can even say that this is the first time, I'm French, we know what strikes mean. We're not the only one. Greeks are not too bad either. So the point is, the first time that the trade unions wanted us to accelerate the rollout of this approach, because it was making the salespeople that had these tools were, let's say, faster in getting their bonuses. So I think that the notion of how do I bring it at scale? What is the return on investment? How big is it? How do I embark people? We used to say at BCG that in terms of effort, we have the 10, 20, 70. 10% is actually 10% of the effort is to find a good enough an algo. And it's not that difficult to find one which is good enough. The 20% is more about the infrastructure, about data, about the infrastructure and so on. It's already, but 70% of the effort is really in the change management. And it is even more true with generative AI, I would say, because with machine learning, you don't know that you use it, you are not a programmer. With generative AI, everyone becomes a programmer. English is the hottest programming language, as Andrei Karpathy, one of the founders of OpenAI, said. So I think these are things that are very important, and we should not underestimate the difficulty to bring people along and for this adoption of new technologies, because what we need to understand is as well that these LLMs are just a small wave of a set of different waves that are coming with multimodality, with autonomous agents.
Perfect. So I would like to hold on from this. 70% is change management. Trust is at the core, and I think that has been the common theme of what you said. And I like what you said, Sandy, about that really at the one point where you have to have this fast decision making, like at a crisis. This is a lifesaver, particularly if François is in New York flying. So I would like just to double down on this. How do we move from this regime where there's experimentation, there's use cases, there's a lot of proof of concepts, which will never fly, to a regime where the organization is actually building, deploying, and using and leveraging AI as part of the processes? What does it take? What are the changes that we have to do? Who should be involved? Is it the CIO? Is it the CEO who has to take the reins? What is it? What does it take to create this organization spirit and culture that is really incorporating AI? François, I'd like to start with you.
I can start with that. First of all, I believe that at the end, and this is what I was saying about the question, it is about business questions. So it means that it needs to start from the business. It can be the CEO, it can be the CRO, depending on what you want to do, but really someone who is in charge and can see how it will have an impact. If you are not able to frame the impact, it will be very difficult to make it happen. So point one. Point two, of course, CIOs and are involved. And the second thing is, and where I'm coming, that you need to have teams that are really gathering the entire types of capability that are required. And you need to work in an agile mode, meaning that you need to have everyone together to solve the issue together. The third thing is that you need to train people. They need and train and make sure that their culture, they understand what it is and what it is not. There is this famous sentence that says that the more you know, the less care you are. This is point one. The second thing that is important to have in mind is that humans won't get replaced by AI. Humans will get replaced by humans using AI, at least at the first stage. So I think that and I can see, for instance, what was done in Finland with MOOCs, where the government said, okay, let's make people understand what AI is about. And when I go to Finland, I can say that people in companies tell me that it's much easier to implement AI solutions because their employees have a good view of what AI is and is not. So I think it's a mix of business capabilities, process and workflow redesign, and change management on people. Don't make people naive. There is a massive reskilling and upskilling effort to be made. People are aware of it. Try to think about it, explain it, say where you are, be transparent is really critical. So I would say along these lines, that's one thing. I would add one more thing. I believe that the next source of competitive advantage in the source of competitive advantage in the next decade is about traditional companies, the way they adopt and unleash the power of these new technologies. The clock speed of these technologies is exponential. As I said, you have LLMs, tomorrow you have, or today a bit, you have large multimodal language models. Tomorrow you will have autonomous agents that will be able to act on the world, and the multimodal models have a better world model, understanding of what the world, I don't like the word understanding, but the world, what it looks like. So you have that, but therefore, all companies need to embrace these changes as much as they can and learn. The rate of learning becomes critical. And this is why I believe that each company should have an experiment, some capability to experiment these new technologies, to get accustomed to it. So this is where you can do POCs, you can fail and so on. And at the same time, what they need to do then is really to have what we call an AI at scale approach, which is along the line that I've just discussed.
Perfect. Sandy, what has been your experience?
I couldn't agree more with François. Companies need to understand what AI is, and there's just so much ambiguity, misconceptions, and it's really, really important for them to fully grasp the meaning of what AI is and also what it's capable for. And in order to show that, demonstrate all the capabilities of AI, they need to see tangible value added. So I'm not going to be speaking about myself, I'll be speaking about my company. Palantir has adopted a very robust new model of hosting AIP bootcamps. AIP stands for Artificial Intelligence Platform Offering. So we host those 1 day, 2, 3, all the way to 5 day free bootcamps for customers. Customers come in and then we teach them. We spend a few hours teaching them what AI is, and also specifically we focus on robust prompt engineering, which is extremely instrumental for a successful AIP workflow. And then we spend the rest of the time of the bootcamp on hands keyboard sessions. We build fully operational AI workflows, either with their real data, or if they don't have time to share data with us, we can use natural data. That's easy. But we want to demonstrate all the capabilities that they have with our offering. And just to illustrate on some recent examples of how they evolve from just pilots to actually adopting AIs in their ecosystem. In the fall, I work for a global multi-billion-dollar company that manufactures engines, and actually their executive will, it's called Cummins, the company. The executive will be presenting on this, so I can actually mention the name, in our AIP conference on March 7th this week. So he'll be actually, and that will be broadcast on YouTube, so you can see his presentation during our conference. So we had some use cases with using AI for their inventory management, and they were able to save, I cannot really say the number exactly, but it was a lot of millions of US dollars within 3 weeks of putting that use case into production. So they saw tangible value added, and then they came back to us, and we worked together to, building additional use cases for them. Some of them included emissions management, again using GenAI, all the way to using AI for dynamic scheduling of their human resources, which means that they not only found value of what they saw using AI, but they actually adopted it in many different pieces of their organization. And for me, this is a success story of how a company went to getting a glimpse of what AI is, what AI is capable for, and also fully adopting it to their ecosystem in the long run.
Mari, you said earlier some of the ingredients that were important in your bank. Would you like to add something else to what you heard just now from Sandy and
Yes,
François?
I could even just say pass the question because you fully covered me, both François and Sandy. But just not to sound a bit, because I said try early, small, probably fail. So I don't want to sound small. So I would say that what I would add is that try small. Yes, you need to have use cases. Use cases can be small, but also they can be more bold and big with higher return investment. I would say that when you build the culture that, as we all agree that it's important, and the change management thing, then I think you need to go bold. So probably the next move would be to just take a full business process and re-engineering like totally, and just not just try small pieces on, let's say, a few steps of the process, as I mentioned before, some couple of minutes, but then take a business process and think from start to end with the new capabilities that you have, what you can offer faster, more efficient, which means less cost sometimes to our clients. So this is the thing that I could add.
Thank you, Maria.
And I agree with that. I mean, start small, think big. Can be a good approach, especially at the beginning.
Thank you. I'm passing the exams, François. After failing the use case terminology.
You didn't fail. You didn't fail.
Right, I'm joking.
I understand that.
Thank you. Thank you.
This obviously we have seen just 13 months of generative AI, and there has been a lot of developments even in the last 2 weeks. We look at Sora, we look at the Gemini, the large context window. Sandy, I would like to start with you, looking a little bit about, what developments, what emerging trends do you think that will significantly impact the use of AI for commercial use cases? And, this a common thing that I hear is, should we start now or should we wait until, for example, we don't need any more prompt engineering?
Excellent question. Actually, 2 questions together, which are combined. But there's so much innovation, and this is really exciting. We have news coming out every single day with exciting technologies. Of course, sorry, it's going to be very interesting. You might have seen the big video, but innovation is fast approaching, and companies should be able to understand what each new model that comes out is, and also try to embrace it. I would love to see technologies approach, of course, with setting the technological part aside, I would love to see technologies embracing a more human-centric, informed decision-making, because yes, you have the technology, but what are you using it for? And as far as your second question is concerned, great question. So a lot of people are still skeptical, and they hear this buzzword AI, but then they don't really know when is the best time to start. I think we should start small, definitely.
Right.
Try, because competition is extremely big right now, and you need to start thinking of how you can leverage AI in your ecosystem for two ways: organic growth and also cost-cutting savings. And I'm not saying lay off people, but actually have your personnel and devote their precious time into what their skills are best for. So in my humble opinion, I think that every executive, every board member should start thinking of how they can leverage AI as soon as possible. And again, start small, fully understand what you are working on, what it is, and then start building from there.
Thank you, Sandy. François?
I would say, the problem is that you could wait, but in that case, you will wait forever because there will always be a new technology that is coming. And coming back to what I was saying earlier on, I think that your question is more how fast can I unleash and adopt these technologies? And something that is interesting, we've been looking at the companies that were really preempting and leveraging and getting return from GenAI. And what we found is that they were the ones that were the most mature and the most advanced in analytical AI. And I think it shows why, because this maturity helps you develop new things, helps you understand what you can get out of it, what it can do, what it cannot do. The more you wait, the less you will be able to catch up. So it's better to experiment. It's really important to start as early as possible because there is a learning curve. And this learning curve, this rate of learning on how to unleash the power of these new technologies, it has never been as important as it is today.
And Maria, from your side.
First, I will start for the second part of your question and then go to the first. So the second part, which is like if you wait or start, I think you definitely need to have started yesterday, as someone said on the previous panel, because you need to, and why is that? I'm tech savvy. I'm not really enthusiastic with new technologies on the beginning, but I believe that we have in front of us a kind of a revolution what happened like 15, 12 months ago when we first all started ChatGPT. So even though if I'm a tech savvy, I even have a smart home, I was not an early adopter. I did it probably a couple of years later. But with that thing, who is in this room that hasn't asked questions about to ChatGPT? It's the first time that we have, let's say, BOD members, our CEO, president of the board of directors, that they ask us what do we do about the new technology. I think that never happened before. They never asked us if we had C++, if we are using COBOL. Sorry if I'm not offending any CEO, but they never were interested of what we're doing in the technologies, because I've worked in both technology and business. And now we have since 2023, the BOD asks a KPI, how many Gen AIs are we targeting this year and how many have we achieved. So it means that since they are interested, it means that it's something that we should have done yesterday. As I said, cautious is then go bold. The first part, which is, the first part, are the emerging trends. Yes, the emerging trends that I can see through what we're experiencing now is that most probably I'm now on the business side, business people, we need to learn how to write prompts. I didn't know what that meant until a couple of months before, when I realized that the prompt, it's just explain the business decision that you need to train the model. So I believe that probably within the year, we need to learn how to explain those prompts. So following that trend, I think this is what we will experience.
And this aligns very much with what Sandy said about the boot camps and putting your hands.
Correct.
Very quickly, in order to allow for a few questions here, is what are the most misconceptions that clients have about AI, and how do you address them? Sandy, I would like to start with you.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, most people are familiar with ChatGPT. I have used it, my mother has used it, even my grandmother has now used it. It's really cool, you get to answer really cool questions, even ask ChatGPT to write a poem for you, or there's a thing in Shakespeare mode. And then some of you might have used Copilot. So most people think that AI is just that. What we offer, yeah, of course, those are indeed applications of AI, but there's just so much potential for AI. And this is what we're trying to demonstrate to our customers, that yes, leverage AI, but help it make you drive enterprise operations and decisions for you. I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question? It's been a long day.
Yeah, I know you have two panels back to back, so I really appreciate your patience here. What misconceptions clients have, and how do you address them?
Thank you so much. Yes. So by working closely with your customers hand by hand and trying to actively demonstrate it with demos. And I would like to highlight two things. You touched on it, hallucination. Unfortunately, we have seen tons of examples of AI hallucinations, so you need to be very careful to address that. And there are two ways you can do that. First of all, use a very structured way of how, your data is the input for the model. Don't ask it to use the model 3, 3.5, 4, maybe in the future 5, it's fast approaching models, because it's going to be the general model. You want your ecosystem's data to be responding to those prompts. And of course, very robust prompt engineering, because the way you phrase a question, the way you approach an issue is instrumental. And then the second thing is model limitations. You have to be very careful of what model you're using. You should use actually more than one in your AI workflow, and allow your workflow to also provide feedback loops in order to make and train your model be as robust as possible. This is how you're going to address those challenges.
Yeah, understanding. Maria?
So I will just mention a misconception. I think it was mentioned also by myself and also François. I think the biggest misconception, as clients, I assume it's me, because I'm business. I don't have other clients except the end client that usually they don't know what we're using in order to serve them, at least on the process part. So as a client, I believe that the biggest misconception to all the people, I'm leading approximately 700 people, the biggest misconception is that it's going to replace us. It's going to replace our jobs. Of course, it's going to change the capabilities that they will be requested, but I think that AI in total is here to support us. It's also a very good branding. I don't know who did it, the co-pilot, which means that it's a supportive engine. It will probably change the way that you are working. It probably need more and different capabilities, but I think that's the biggest misconception that I would like to mention.
Thank you. François, the timer says 1 minute.
So I think I fully agree with what was said. I would add one more thing, which is when people believe that AI transformations are another transformation like the previous one, digital transformations and so on. I think that in nature, by nature, AI transformations are different because it impacts our professional identity, about the way we think about our competence, our autonomy, or sense of belonging. And therefore, the amount of change management is really, really high, and that is to be taken is very big. So it's a different type of transformations. Everything as was said about data, about processes, about workflow, is important, but how will we then work as a team? I think if you want another misconception is that everything will come extremely quickly. It is fast, but it will take a long period of time before we really leverage all the potential of these technologies. As I said, I'm old enough. In 1995, you had internet in the class of 1995, the class of 95 with Amazon, Yahoo, and so on. But in 1999, the website of the New York Times was still the PDF version of the print. We are at a moment, we are just at the beginning of it. Therefore, it's a moment when I believe companies should think and imagine their future. So it's, of course, people are at the moment focusing a lot on efficiency, how to revisit our workflows and so on. But a new world can get imagined. And I believe that the companies that will be on that front are likely to be more successful in the future.
Amazing, thank you. I know we are over time, but I would like to take a couple of questions from the floor. If anyone has any question, please raise your hand.
Either we said everything clearly, or you didn't understand what you were saying, so I don't know.
Okay. If there's no questions, I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sandy,
Good questions. Thank you.
Marie,
Yeah.
François, thank you very much.